right, as we settle in and get ready, we're gonna give it a couple of minutes, let people come in to the room. Let me know where you guys are from, how you guys are doing today on this second day of Gemini, which is so exciting. We have a lot to share and a lot to bring to you guys today. So I'd love to know what you guys are feeling already. If you feel any shifts from Taurus season to now Gemini, what the differences are for you, what you've felt. Because I know that for me, the biggest thing that I noticed is I didn't feel so stuck, but at the same, once we left Taurus season, I felt a lot less stuck. But I would say, on the flip of that, since we have now Gemini season, and Gemini rules duality as well as dual body parts, I've been having some foot issues, and with that, when Jupiter entered into Gemini, which was on the same day, Jupiter is the planet of expansion, so that just kind of has exacerbated these dual body part issues for me. So I've noticed that too. It happened to the day, which is something I'm going to get checked out. But regardless, it's still, it's interesting. It's a thing. Oh, it's duality. It's focusing on, multiple body parts. It's, taking it to a different level. So it's definitely different than what I was experiencing during Taurus season. So, are you all good?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
We just double checking everything here.
Lynx is grabbing her computer. And we're going to jump in and take a look at, what this week is going to hold for us. So this is going to be specifically the elemental emotional weather forecast for all 4 elements. And it's going to specifically be for the dates between May 20th, today, and Monday, May 27th. So we're going to take a look at a bunch of different areas of what's going on with tarot, as well as I'll let you know of any upcoming transits as I learn them. I am not an official astrologer, but I would love to become one, and I am learning a lot.
An astrology enthusiast.
Astrology enthusiast, yes.
Is your mic up?
I think so.
Just double checking. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mic is on.
I think now is the time. Like I like to just intermittently throw in some gratefulness for being alive in this time. I think that it's really cool that we live in a time where you can decide that you want to learn something and you can just go out and learn it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's you can pay someone a few bucks online to or the free resources are amazing. There are so many things that you can just learn. You can get on Skillshare and suddenly you have as much knowledge as somebody else who's been doing this for a really long time. It's incredible.
Absolutely.
It's so cool.
And Gemini is all about processing. We're all about processing. Mercury is about processing higher level information as well. I'm sorry, lower level information. Whereas Jupiter, which is going to be in the sign of Gemini until June of next year, Jupiter is all about higher level education. So we have a very big focus this month on communication, on strengthening our communication in all ways. But we're also going to see a really big desire for learning. We're going to see people asking questions, wanting to know more, wanting to have a deeper understanding of the hows and whys and whats. So we're going to have a big change in the way that we communicate. So you're going to see for a lot of especially this month, you're going to see a lot of intensity focused on your communication breakdowns. So if you know that that's going to happen, it's going to be beneficial to start thinking in terms of, okay, if I start also paying attention to where I'm having communication breakdowns and failures, right now, then that means that I can go ahead and get ahead of this and not get frustrated by the communication breakdown. I just had a perfect example of that happen to me in a stupid little tiff we had because I wasn't processing the information of what she was saying back to me correctly, and it made me see, okay, that's how I can interpret things better next time. Oh, okay, cool, look at that. I just figured that out. Just connect the dots from not knowing how to communicate properly to finding a solution, and then implementing it on the next go round. So you can kind of start doing that too, giving yourself the opportunity to look at your communication blockages, look at them from an objective and fair, not cruel to yourself point of view, and that will allow you to start working with these energies, because we're talking about every month we're going to feel different energy. The sun moves into a different zodiac, what is it, deacon, and which is the 30-day period. And no, that's different. Deacon is the 30-day period. I'm thinking of season. Well, it's still in that season for what? It's still in that period for 30 days. Yeah, so that's right.
Yeah, I think there's like overlap, right? Isn't there?
No,
It's just it is.
It's 30.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. So deacon. Each deacon for a 30-day period. So you've got all of that energy that shifts, and just like you can feel the sun and you can see the sun, it affects us. It touches us. It changes us in one way or another. So last month we were all focused on money, the Taurus season. We were all focused on foundation, on the building of solid, real, constructive possibilities. We were building on what matters most to us, our values, our and our relationships, how we have blockages. And we also realized a lot of stuff too for the month before with Aries season that had the total solar eclipse. That brought this sense of needing to be healthier, of having a lot of anger and having a lot of confusion and not being able to communicate. So you feel all of that transfer into Taurus season, which was a huge shift of, getting to process things a bit more intensely. Now into Gemini season, which takes the I don't know what's the right way to say it, takes the way that you process things and allows you to apply it in actual practical applications, which gives you the license really to start figuring out what works and what doesn't, what needs to be said and how to say it. It gives you, the drive to do that too. So when we're looking at Jupiter coming into Gemini over this next period, we're all going to be feeling much more social. It's going to be about community. It's going to be about traveling. Although we're probably not going to see a lot of long travel because Jupiter is at its furthest distance away from Sagittarius, which is its home planet, and will be debilitated in the sign of Gemini. So we're going to see both pros and cons to travel. Might even see some issues there, when it comes to trying to get to where you want to go. But overall, this period is going to have a huge focus on how we process our spirituality, on higher level thinking when it comes to what we believe in, and asking the bigger questions. So this is a month of reading into your intuition, of trusting in yourself more, of playing, red, yellow, green with your body signals so that you can better understand what your higher self wants and go towards the thing that you want. This is going to come down to paying attention to your premonitions. You'll probably have much more premonitions, which is also caused to make me think that a lot of us will be having some pretty interesting dreams, and especially even sleepless nights, because all that mental processing that Mercury has and all the energy towards education and expanding oneself, both on the lower level, which is like learning how to do things, learning through education or taking classes, things like that, reading books more in that area. It also has a huge emphasis on Jupiter being all about higher level education. So our minds are going to be processing. We're going to be having a hard time shutting them down to sleep. So it's good to kind of keep in mind that this is going to be a very huge shift in change of how we communicate and how we express ourselves, how we get from place to place, how we see our social life, everything about education and language. A big emphasis on technology changes that are coming up, financial changes that are coming up. All of these are kind of, we're going to start seeing some solid walls start to be built in the things that we've already been trying to change over this last couple of month period since we started this new zodiac year, I would say. So for now, I'm gonna. Did you grab you have your cards too, right?
Yep.
All right, we're gonna jump into. If you wanna say anything?
Well, I just want to say hi to Grace. Grace is here.
Hey, Grace.
She says, "Hello, lovely ladies. How are you today?"
Doing well, doing well. Hope you're doing well as well. Well.
well. Doing as well as you can in a time when things are starting to get weird.
Yeah, things are starting to get a little weird, and then there's a emphasis on like needing to pay closer attention to health, needing to make changes, needing to, figure out what that means for you, and then you're also just really tired because all these sun flares, these solar flares are happening, and it's just making the energy so much more challenging to like push yourself to get through. So I would say that's probably one of the harder aspects of all these solar flares, at least for now. It's just feeling so tired. Yeah.
Yeah, and like usually if it's like a fleeting thing, like a few days last week I was pretty tired, like that's
but it's kind of like one
it's
thing
going
after the
on.
other.
It's going on like close to 2-3 more weeks now. I think of just. I feel like I sound like a broken record because I'm just always like I'm tired, and I'm like that's not my general. That's not how I generally feel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a generally like I'm always tired person,
Mm-hmm.
but I have been that way, and I'm getting like we're going on 2-3 weeks here, and I'm like looking at myself on camera. I'm like I look sleepy. So yeah, it's weird. The sun messes with you.
Yeah.
The sun is very capable of actually affecting your physical body in ways other than providing light and heat and sunshine.
Yeah, and then you realize, oh right, all of them do that. They all affect us. They're all affecting us at all times, all the time. That's their whole
just
job.
Can't see it with the other ones. You
Yeah.
can't see it in physicality the way you can with
Right,
the sun.
which is why you would also not think that it even possibly could affect you, but the fact that we're able to see the planets, that tells you alone, because their light energy that travels to you is going into your eye, which is something that you're processing, which means you're being touched by it, which is crazy. That's a crazy
That's an interesting thought. Yeah.
reality, that it is all affecting you in some way. You can't say that it doesn't.
Yeah.
It actually legitimately does. That's a trip.
And that's why astrology is so much fun.
Yeah, because it's actually, we can't say that everything. What was her saying? It was really cool. It was really clever. History doesn't always repeat itself, but history will rhyme.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
I liked that. That was pretty neat. Grace said astrology is incredible. I have a good friend in India who's an amazing astrologer.
Oh, cool.
Sweet.
That's
Very
awesome.
Cool. And she said, I hear you on that one. Nothing worse than waking up and feeling so drained daily. Yeah. I'm not really even a coffee drinker. Like, I'm not
I know, but I've been thinking about
I've been
it.
thinking about breaking out the like strong English
Yeah.
black tea.
Mm-hmm. And just getting that started, because
Trying
this
to
is
Get some footing again.
It's a little bit more challenging than I anticipated.
Although sometimes it can be fun if you don't get frustrated with yourself being a little more floaty.
Yeah.
As long as you don't get frustrated.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, I think of it as, and it's that all of that energy that the sun is pushing out from itself is just kind of being pushed through us, right? It's just kind of coming in and going out. And that leaves, it's like pulling and constantly removing all of this energy from you, which, makes me think, what are we all going to be like at the end of this, when all of this really stops, in April of next year, when all the sun flares really start to slow down and we get back to normal, and I think we enter sun cycle 26 or something. What happens then? What kind of people will we be then? What kind of energy will we be then? Because we'll be either, look how much we're changing already. We're dramatically changing in so many ways, from the way that we see our health, the way that we see our finances, the way that we communicate, and Next month is about emotions, how we deal and manage emotionality during Cancer season. So each step of the zodiac is just removing and pushing through new energy just constantly with these solar flares that happen. So that's just it makes you wonder what is being taken away. You know, what's being taken away and what will we look like at the end of all this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you imagine like the energy going through your physical body, it would it would make sense that like something else, like everything else, would have to shift in order to make space for this thing to pass through you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very trippy thought. Like, does stuff get, if say a very general example would be, if it's coming through this way and is going into you, does stuff get pushed out through your back?
Exactly.
And then I would imagine that I would imagine that if it was moving through you, it would leave a trail, like a space of where it's been. And I wonder, maybe those tiny little, that's a really cool idea. Like those tiny little, maybe they're probably smaller than like spaces like in between the atoms or something. I don't know enough about physics to understand it, but I mean, but a gigantic shift of everything over slightly to the left.
Yeah,
I can imagine
it's gonna make a huge change.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to talk to a physics expert.
Right?
Anybody out there, a physics expert who can answer that question? Because that's a cool quandary.
I like it. Yeah, because I just think about, I don't know why, but I think about the giant mass from the movie Armageddon, of like the actual Armageddon asteroid, and I think about all the pieces that it had, right? And then if that were energy and all of that giantness, the asteroid field and the whole bigness, if all of that were energy passing through us, well, we would constantly have holes, but parts of ourselves would also be removed. Maybe it's kind of like a cleansing or a washing through, because if you think about it, each month has been so intense, and we've had to really process some just crazy intense stuff. Aries was anger. We had to learn how to deal with our anger and sit with it. We couldn't talk about it even because Mercury was retrograde. We couldn't say a thing. And then, Mars was squaring Uranus, which meant that we were all just chaos angry mode, trying to figure out how to process, because we wanted to build or tear down old structures in order to build new ones. We had no idea how to do this properly because Mars was also in Pisces. So it just was
splashing around going, no!
I don't want to do it! Don't make me! Because there's, that zaps all your energy. You have all this drive and willingness and want, but you have no motivation because all you feel is sorry for you. With all the other stuff that's happening because you can't communicate and you're angry and you're, so then you transfer that into, now we don't feel that anymore. We felt in Taurus season, we felt just much more homey. How many of you guys ate way more food during Taurus season than you did during Aries? Because that was me. I was frustrated by that.
No. Out there.
I was frustrated because you feel more like a bull. You're more like a cow. You end up like grazing more. And you're like, oh, it's so nice. Venus just loves her candies.
And it's especially
I'll have another one. It's fine.
Yeah. It's especially defeating because Aries season, you're like, I'm gonna do all these great things for myself. I'm gonna have discipline. And and then you do that.
Yep.
And then Taurus season's like, you did a really great job. I'll take over from here.
I'll take over from
and
here.
You're like,
and you just lounge around. You just eat all of the things, and you just enjoy it.
Taurus is like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
And then, so Gemini season, we're much more social. We're much more interested in expression and travel and like even just getting things moving. Anything that requires action and motion, we're interested in. And we're interested in being able to express ourselves in more intense ways. So when you see all of these things that are going to be, that have already been worked on and that will continue to be worked on, then it really just makes you wonder, okay, how many things actually got pushed out of us for these last 2 0.2 months. 2 months and 2 days, right? So how many during those seasons? What all got pushed out? Well, I would say a lot of things, right? Unhealthy habits, unhealthy ways of communication style and anger, unhealthy financial patterns, unhealthy or impractical belief systems that may have been holding you back or making you think more negatively about your foundation. It also made you reassess and reevaluate how you are spending your energy and where you need to put it and balance more, where you may be starving out certain people or situations that need more of your energy and putting too much of your energy into situations that don't need it. So you look at all these things and you go, well, those could be the things that got pushed out with this energy that's being transferred and changed through us with the solar bursts, the solar flares.
Ooh. And that being said, I would argue that this would be a time that you would really need to pay attention who you're spending your time with.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think about us as walking around as metaphorical Swiss cheese with all these holes, like whose energy are you filling that with?
Whose energy are you feeling that with? Exactly. Yeah. Whose energy are you feeling and who are you not? And are you being absolutely certain about that? Like, are you being true to yourself? Are you really listening in those body signals that are going, yeah, this person is just not good for you. You need to get away from this person. Or are you really tapping into it? Because that's really going to have major ramifications on what happens over this next year period, you know, especially when we look at where we'll all be this time next year and what all we still have left to go through. It's going to be a crazy shift. Yeah, so if you think about yourself as metaphorical sliced cheese, Swiss cheese, then yeah, you can understand how the energy could move like that and what it's letting go of each week or each month, which I think is why it's so cool to kind of have an outline already established that I just have to learn about with astrology and then gain an understanding of how each month is going to kind of like common themes, things we're going to be like kind of seeing over and over. Gives you a sense of like safety too, and knowing that, okay, well, if those are the things that I'm supposed to be working on, I'll just go ahead and figure that out first and then start working on those things so that I can make the most out of each month's energy. You know?
And we're going to be doing that more with you guys, which is what we're really excited about.
Yeah.
You know? So, yes. Great. Grace said, yes, the grazing of the candies.
The grazing of the candies. It was a real thing.
It was well,
a real
still
thing.
a real thing, it feels like. It feels like it's still eking into Gemini season.
Yeah, just a smidge though. I feel just kind of, yeah, I do. I feel less cow-ish, less cow-esque in like my desire
less
to
mooey.
just less mooey. Yes, if you please. Yes, less mooey. Less of a desire to just continue to eat, like overly continuing with like the healthy or not so healthy choices.
Yeah.
You know, more interested in some sort of balance, which would make sense because Gemini is about duality. It's about balance in some areas, not on go. I mean, there are still some challenges with that type of balance but overall, I would say there is more balance here than in Taurus season. Venus, I mean, I am a slave to Venus as well. Libra, she does like her sweets. All right, so are we ready to jump into the you ruined me on that. It's not actually called that.
I thought that's what you said the very first time, and I thought that was such a cool idea.
Yeah.
But
I'm just not there yet. Yeah. But okay, what we're doing is the elemental emotional weather forecast. And like I said, that's going to be for today, the 20th, to May 27th. And we're going to take a look at each element in 3 different areas of life. We're going to look at challenges what did I call it? I called obstacles and opportunities. And then we're going to look into relationships. So this is going to be love, friendships, any relationships, coworker relationships. And then we're going to last look at what tool or skill that element has, either within them or will be given to them to get through that week. So get through that week's challenges. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the fire signs. We're going to do Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And just see what you guys have in the tarot forecast ahead for you this week. And then you may also be interjecting with some tarot.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some sad shuffling. I'll do some sad shuffling, and I'll see if there's anything that I wanna emphasize or chime in on, or anything that this tarot deck needs to add its 2 cents into. I think, and we'll see how that goes.
All right. So let's go ahead and see where you guys are starting out. Fire signs. Starting in a very good position, I'd say. We got the Queen of Swords. So I think this is fantastic because this is at a point where you are using and have learned over the last, let's say 2 months, 2 seasons, Aries and Taurus. Over these last 2 seasons, you've definitely learned how to be more stable in your communication, be more direct. There's a feeling of like maybe you had to let go of something that was binding you, someone that was binding you, a situation that was causing a kind of chain on you, and because of that, you had to really look at what was most important. You had to really look at what mattered to you in order to figure out how to communicate it properly and how to express yourself. So you guys are starting off in a really good position because you have going forward this week as challenges. You may, for some of you, let's look at challenges, obstacles ahead is still finding this balance, still figuring out how to express and communicate ourselves clearly and dynamically, using this dynamic, focused, logical action to convey the things that are bothering us. So this is still probably left over from this past month. Now you have to work towards this so that you can kind of embody the Queen of Swords. She leaves out her emotions in order to concisely dictate the things that need to change. And that's going to really help you guys get through this week. It is using patience. It is being aware of the emotional reactivity of other people. So using timing and using location, using, all the tools in your toolbox of how you can set the stage for, say, a more complicated conversation or communication, a more challenging conflict, things that need to be said. How can we say them the correct way? So that's what we're kind of looking at as obstacles. Opportunities, as far as opportunities go, this will allow you, these changes that you make this week will allow you to set the stage for what needs to happen. There needs to be some action from you, and that's how you make things change. The transformation happens once you figure out what needs to be said. You figure out what needs to be said, and then voila, you suddenly have clear insight. This is trusting your intuition. This is going with what your higher self is telling you, and this is not being fooled by anyone. If it doesn't feel right, then you don't go towards it. If it feels good, if you're getting green signals, happy signals, joyful signals, go. Let your body be your guide. And this is also trusting in your intuition as well. If your feelings are telling you no, then don't do the thing that is telling you not to do. Opportunities are, that there's more insight here. We have a deeper understanding of how to navigate for next week. All right, so then we're going to take a look at, did you want to add to that at all?
Nope, I'm going to shuffle.
Okay.
So I
Right,
think
that's
I'm just
fine.
going to pull one card here or there.
All right.
But I just want to wait real quick so you don't have to shuffle, talk all coolly over the sound of one sec. Please hold. I can show off my cool shuffling skills. Look at how good I am at shuffling, you
You're
guys.
amazing.
Alright.
right, fire signs. Looking at relationships. This is going to be friendships, partnerships. This is going to be business and colleagues, people that we go to school with. This is, and on our loved ones. So all of our relationships this week are looking really great. It's almost like we have been, we've been struggling with figuring out some new ways forward of how to say the things that need to be said, and now we've figured those things out. I think you guys are going to overall have a lot of luck in your relationships this week. This is the 9 of Cups, and it is wish fulfillment card. So anytime you see this card, it's a good representation that the things that you're trying to really achieve and really work towards are going to happen, or you're going to have a much more easy transition of getting these things to happen. And then when we talk about Jupiter going into Gemini, we're also talking about the expansion, the planet of expansion, with all of its good fortune and good wisdom also shining upon you for this week as well. So, if you're trying to figure out timing of when to say the thing, of how to say it, know that this is the time. This is how we say it. We figure out what it is that needs to be said. We understand and we process how and what we need, and then we lay down boundaries. So this is a great time, a good week to make things happen for yourself in all areas of relationships, in all forms of communication. Remember, it's going to be most important to set aside emotion and focus more on logic in order to clearly demonstrate what it is that you need, okay, that you need changed. All right, and the skill or talent that you are either starting off with or will be given for you this week. Okay, well, you guys just are basically awesome, I guess. So, High Priestess. All right, beautiful. Very, 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 very beautiful. And very in line with this card. So, High Priestess energy for you guys this week. This is what you already have, and it is a very strong intuition. Now, for you, this is about deciding to fully trust in that gut feeling and that inner voice, that higher consciousness telling you this is the right direction to go into. We should definitely go in this direction. It's kind of like, I use this one a lot because it's so prominent, and I know that everyone's done this. Okay, so you know how you're going to the bathroom and your intuition is like, there's no toilet paper in there. And then you go into that bathroom and you sit down, you do your thing, and you realize there's no toilet paper in there. But you knew, and you didn't trust yourself. This is what I'm talking about. These tiny little gut moments where you know better. You need to start trusting into this intuition. And you're already doing that. You guys are already off to a good start. It's going to be about continuing to trust in yourself, even in these smaller, more silly moments of toilet paper and whatnot. It's a good idea to remember that that intuition is the same intuition that's going to help you get through these more challenging conversations, these more complicated, complex, talks that have to happen. Maybe these shifts in power dynamics as well, because we're seeing it's a court card, so we could have some power dynamic shifts, but they go well in your favor overall. So this is going to be great for you guys fire signs out there. Trust in what you know, and also continue to find ways to deepen your connection with your intuition. Journaling is a fantastic way to help keep you on track. I recommend that for anyone. Writing in the physical world is always the one of the fastest ways to kind of grow your intuition as you are trying to develop it more. And then, did you want to do anything on that?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Alrighty, then we are going to go ahead and look at Earth signs. And we're going to start with Taurus. We're going to look at Virgo and Capricorn. So, we're going to see what's going on with you guys this week.
Do you know where the little practical wisdom tarot
You might
is?
look in that top drawer there, in the middle.
Aha, thank you.
Yeah, I tried to keep those separate because they're little.
Yeah, okay, cool, thank you.
All right, Earth signs. Let's see what's going on with you guys for this week. Obstacles and opportunities. Another court card for you guys for earth signs. Okay, so obstacles, I'll start there because that's, opportunities are fun last. Obstacles of this card are finding patience, not overdoing it with your frustration, feeling really close to something but not having it happen the way you want might be something that you see over this week. Might be themes that kind of pop up, or needing to kind of have more patience for the journey that you're trying to create. There might be some sort of slowdown that makes you have to reassess your leadership qualities as well. So there's a sense of needing to really kind of pay attention to what we aren't seeing and what we aren't understanding and what we want to grow on. When we look at obstacles ahead of us, this is still kind of needing to have a, I would say, like a time away for you. There needs to be some time spent for you to process the information that you're given. You may be feeling kind of even overwhelmed because there's going to be so much information. So if that's happening, do yourself a favor and kind of step away, give yourself some time so that you can fully process. Because like I said, this is going to be just a huge amount of mental information. And you also want to be very aware of where you're getting your information from. I would check at least 2 sources, because this is going to be the time that really sets us apart from, even a year ago. All right, we're going to see a lot of information start flying around that's very different than what we will know to be as truth. So you want to be aware of where you're getting your information. The opportunities for this card are that you come back into alignment with yourself. You come back into having much more patience and resiliency. It's about kind of taking your place. There's, again, because a lot of people depend on you or see you as a leader or see you as someone who is prominent and wise, someone who is compassionate and has an in-depth understanding of whatever your field is. So there's coming back into this. There's having more alignment, having more strength within the authority that you're putting out too. Because there does seem to be, I would say, some uncertainty as of right now as to how comfortable you feel with what you're doing. So this is what's going to change. The opportunities, I would say, if you see anything new that pops up this week as far as like what you can do to strengthen yourself, take that as a measured opportunity to give yourself a leg up. A new skill is not a bad thing. There's going to be a lot of moments that kind of come up that really make you kind of revisit your passions, all right? And that's going to be really excellent when it comes to this week, because there's going to be much more that becomes more opportunities for socializing and figuring out how and what matters most to you in your social life. So that's what you guys are looking forward to this week as far as earth signs goes, your obstacles and opportunities. And then we have for love and relationships, we have all relationships. We have the Knight of Cups reversed. So there is a sense of feeling a little bit off here. We may be trying to figure out how to get back up. All right, there's a sense of a slowdown, delays, things that were once going in one direction. Maybe we've had some breakups. I'm also sensing that too. Breakups, as well as miscommunication in love, missing out on the emotional aspects to things. So it might be helpful. You might be missing signals. You might be missing body signals, body language. You might be not picking up and having a lot of misunderstandings when it comes to your relationships. Best thing you can do for this is just to have more patience, just to be aware that this energy exists. And with that, that gives you the benefit of working with it a little bit more easily. So we're not going to have to be so reactive to it or so emotional towards it, because we'll have seen, okay, well, that's kind of how things are supposed to go. And if that's the case, then I can just be more of an observer to these more challenging emotions that come in. But the more that you, I would say, come at any sort of misunderstandings or miscommunications with compassion and empathy for either yourself or the other person, the easier you're going to be, the easier it will be to get through these those conflicts, if any conflicts come up. So just become more of an observer and work through the reactivity as best you can. And then we're going to look at the tool or skill that you have or will be given entering into this week. All right. So your biggest skill, your biggest talent, and what will help you most to get through this week, Earth signs, is the going inward. Really, like I was pointing out with the King of Wands, it's a good idea to have some introspection, have some time to yourself, take a break. If it becomes too much, step back. Allow yourself the space to go, all right, this is going to be kind of intense, and I need to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, that I'm using proper, proper, what am I looking for? Not self-improvement, self-betterment, that's not right either.
Like self-regulation?
Self-regulation is not quite, yes, taking care of mind, body, and soul. Like
almost like self-preservation, but not.
Not. It's
self-care.
Self-care, yeah, absolutely, that's it. Self-care, having proper self-care, and really realizing your limits, because you might find that it's harder to realize what your limits are. Remember, you guys are earth signs. You're going to feel into your body's signals much more deeply than fire signs will. It's a good idea, if you are feeling at all overwhelmed by a situation, to address it and not give in too much of yourself to it. All right, your biggest skill is to quietly, or even let people know. Even let your people know, hey, this might be a little bit more of a challenging week for me. I may just need to go and recharge every now and then. I may just need to go and read a book. I may just need to go on a walk, or do something just kind of solo. And it doesn't mean anything about you, and it doesn't mean anything about us. It's going to be just one of those weeks that I think it's going to be a little bit more challenging for me. So if you see me going off and doing my own thing, know that I love you, I care about you, but I just need to go and figure my own brain out. That is going to do a world of wonders for you. Absolutely, because you'll be able to handle it all a little bit easier,
Just make sure you bring bug spray if you plan on running off into the woods, because it is bug season.
There are bugs out there. Did you know that there are bugs in Northern California? I did not know.
Well,
I've never been here first.
But I didn't know they were so ferocious.
Yeah, they love us too. It's tough.
Before we move on here, on YouTube, Danielle Brewer says, I'm a Gemini, my birthday is tomorrow and is our 13-year wedding anniversary.
Awesome. Well, happy birthday and happy wedding anniversary.
Congratulations on 13 years.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Is that Danielle Brewer?
Yeah.
Hey, Danielle, you were the winner of the 15-minute reading for the last live that we did.
I wonder if she's still in the room. Is she still in there? It says there's 2 people in the room. Maybe she's still in here.
Yeah. All right. Well, just so you know, you should reach out to us so you can get your 15-minute free reading on your birthday.
Yeah,
that would be super cool.
Yeah. And then I wanted to ask you, there were a couple of people who came on and that were asking for just a card. Where are we saving that for maybe the end? How would you like to handle that? On days like this.
Yeah,
Bear with us here. We're still trying to figure out how we're handling these segments.
Yeah, we're still working them out. I would say for now, I'm probably going to stick to doing free readings on Fridays, just at least for this week, until we get some other things figured out, and then we'll see about next week. But for now, this is just going to be looking into the emotional forecast for each element for this week. So we'll be giving you guys free readings on Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific. So just come or hit the notification bell, subscribe, get the notifications turned on, and you'll be notified for when we come back. See, I'm going to be doing that a lot because I'm going to be working on my communication. You know, not saying words that are dumb and stupid, like, and sounding of dumbness, like that whole sentence. I'm working on
a
it.
roll there for a second,
Yeah.
and then it just
Spiraled into shenanigan town.
It did,
Yeah.
but that's all right.
All right,
That's
are you
endearing.
doing one, or did you want me to?
No, I'm just I'm
The air signs.
I'm gonna let you go, but I find that I have a deck that might be able to help me a little bit more chime in.
Okay,
But
cool.
I always love listening to you because it's a really cool way to learn.
Ah, well, shucks.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you.
Yes.
We're gonna jump into air signs. What's up, air signs? We're gonna start with Gemini. We're gonna look at Libra and Aquarius. Myself is included in that one, as I am a Libra. Who else is an air sign? Let me know. Let me know. What elements are you guys? Let me know your elements. We'd love to know what your elements are in the comments.
Jessica Rivera says Capricorn.
Hey, Jessica, Capricorn. All right, all right.
Evelyn Walsh says, good evening from Ireland, sending love, first time here.
Hi, Ireland.
Thank
Where's
you.
that?
It's
Fire-
from-
Facebook?
That's on Facebook, yeah.
Hi, Ireland. Thanks
It's
for
Everlyn.
joining.
Evelyn.
Evelyn. I
From
know.
Ireland.
I know. I was saying hi because she's in Ireland.
Oh,
And I was
okay.
excited because we are not in Ireland. So
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
yeah,
You're right. We're not. You're fun.
you're fun. Oh my god.
Grace is a Pisces.
Oh, okay.
She's a
Grace is a
Fellow
Pisces.
Piscean.
So do you do the fish in the ocean and stuff? Pisces. All right. Got it. Cool.
Pisces Aquarius cusp. So
Mm.
it really just depends.
Depends on the mood of the day. What fish is doing what.
Hey, like you could say so much scales.
No,
lady.
I know I can't. I'm scales. I'm scaly and
Are
two
you-
scales.
Are you this? Are you this? There's,
Yeah, I'm
there's a
like
lot
that.
of flappy
I'm like that
flaps
while
for
your
you
two
too.
fish are trying to
Yeah,
swim
well.
away from each other
Yeah.
at all times.
We're both smooth operators.
So
I think is
smooth.
the point here.
Is the punchline. All right, let's take a look at air signs and what is going on. Obstacles and opportunities. Oh my god, ain't that the truth? Obstacles and opportunities, guys. So true. So,
Oh.
7 of Cups.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you look at this card, which is why I picked this deck specifically to use because it is so visually appealing and vibrant. It's pretty sure it's called the Vibrant Tarot deck. This deck in particular, or this card in particular, for obstacles, this is the obstacle of choosing nothing because you don't know, you have choice fatigue. There are so many things that you want to go towards. There's so many things that need to be said. There's so many thoughts that need to be thunk. Like everything.
It's like trying to pick a movie when you have all the streaming
You have
services.
all the streaming
And yet
services,
it's-
and yet nothing is on for you because you have choice fatigue. That is the obstacle that we're seeing for this month, or for this week. This week is about figuring out, what do you really want? Okay, what do you really want to make of whatever you just started? What do you really want to create with it? And how much energy are you really willing to put towards that thing? It's also about letting go of daydreaming and starting to really plant roots. Because the problem with us air signs is we have a tendency to keep on floating away after we've daydreamed something new, and then we completely forget to ground ourselves, and then it's just a dream. It's just a thought, a wish, a hope. Something that doesn't fully form and take shape. It's just floating in the ether, just like we are. And so this is having a more realistic approach to whatever it is that you're trying to tackle. If this means for you, like, if you're creating a channel, well, that means that you create an outline of exactly what you want. You have to figure out what your niche is. You have to figure out what your audience is and what kind of content you're going to create. You have to figure out all these different steps in a practical way in order for that dream to be achieved. So the opportunities of this is that you very well can achieve that opportunity. You can very well achieve that dream, but you have to solidify it. So it's It's also understanding that the grass is not always greener on the other side. This is definitely true for relationships. You may be in a point where you're kind of looking at your person going, I don't know if I can stand your night farts anymore. And then you start daydreaming about like some other person.
Somebody else's night farts.
Somebody else's night farts. And you're wondering how bad their night farts are. But little did you know that that person that you're with is a dainty frog prince in comparison to the toad that you would go and end up being with. All right? Like, it's a whole totally different thing. So there is a need to kind of come to grounding with yourself, coming to terms, and figuring out, like, the logistics of how you get from that thing that you want to, from where you are, to that thing that you want and everything in between. So opportunities is that you can absolutely make this happen, but you cannot do so if you utilize any more of the fear or anxiety or the wishy-washy, you know, flying in the air mentality that ends up happening.
And for this one, like, I pulled the Three of Pentacles. So
Ah,
to throw in
teamwork.
on top of that one is you can't do, it's in your best interest to not do all of the things that she said alone.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that she just said, try your best to, try to bring in other people because, all of the things that you need to do can be a little bit daunting, but not if you do it alone. And not if you don't do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
Not if you do it with people who can help you get to your main goals.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it's all the cups look shiny, but don't stand there staring at them for too long. Pick one and go with it.
Mm-hmm. Pick one and use the feedback of other people, to either collaborate with or build a team with or, socialize with that will help you get to the goal that you're trying to reach or even help you decide on what approach is best. Sometimes it's really helpful to even lean on, other air signs because they'll help you understand how to achieve that thing in a more, that goal in a more balanced way because having someone look from an objective point of view as the observer is almost always easier than having you look at your own problems. Yourself just looking at your own problems. So that is our current obstacles and opportunities air signs for relationships of all kinds, but whether it be love, whether it be family, friendships, business, or people you work with. We have the 8 of Cups reversed. So we have changes that we see that need to be made. We have moves that need to be made. We've been spending a lot of time thinking about what these conversations are, how they look, what they'll feel like. We've thought about this from all different angles. But the problem is we may have enacted some changes over this last month, but there are still many more changes that need to be made within our interpersonal connections. And with that, we are also reluctant, feeling very reluctant to make these changes. We're feeling very reluctant to let go and trust in the universe 100%. So if you're feeling this way at all this week, be aware of that. Be aware of these energies that kind of will do what they can to hold you back or keep you in place. Or, it could just even be you, right? You are deciding, oh my gosh, this is too uncomfortable. I don't want to keep laying boundaries down. I don't want to keep trying to make changes happen. So the more aware of that you can be, the better off that you can handle and navigate through the feelings of not wanting to take those extra steps, not wanting to say the extra words, not wanting to lay the foundation down in order to make solid changes happen within the dynamics that aren't quite balanced. And then we look at the tool. The skill, the tool that you may have or that is coming to you. That's a bummer. I mean, it's not a bummer. It's a good thing. It's great. It's just, it's harsh. It's the Tower. All right, well. So that is not within our control. The Tower comes with a transformation, lots of it. This is an opportunity during a transitional period to give yourself the opportunity to make changes happen. and to build your castle back up the way that you want it built. Even though now it's not how it was, that allows for an opening to have the types of transformations that need to be had, giving you the opportunity to express yourself and communicate in a new way. So it's a tough skill. It's not skill. It's a tough tool that you're going to be handed. But remember, if you go at it with a sense of not having fear, of allowing the emotions to come in, to feel them, and to let them go out, at the same time using logic to get you through, you're going to have a much easier time of this. So for some of us, it may come down to just not having or not allowing ourselves to make a choice. You may get to a point where the universe decides for you. All right, because we have the Tower and we have the Seven of Cups.
And
so
I pulled something on that too. I think the tower is more likely to be something that is going to be a physical loss, because I got the Ace of Pentacles reverse. So if everything looks smooth sailing on your horizon right now, like maybe throw some extra money in the bank, you know? Maybe give yourself a little bit of a cushion, because maybe it could be, you know, maybe it's unseen like expense comes up and knocks you on your rear. What else can the Ace of Pentacles mean, do you think, in terms of what we're looking at here on the whole?
I would say that it's upright, right?
No, it's reversed.
It's reversed. Okay.
That's not saying it's reversed.
Reversed. All right. So as the reversed card goes, let me see. Where is it? Okay. That's neat. All right, cool. All right, so what I'm getting from that is a needing to let go of some sort of responsibility or priority, something that isn't lucrative, energy that could be spent better elsewhere. It's having to be really realistic about either energy or finances. It's having to change things so that they better align with what is realistic versus what is maybe, you know, fantastical. Something that we're like, you know, fantasizing too much about and not being practical. So there's a need for practicality. There's a need to make decisions a bit more quickly than we usually do, as well as needing to be realistic about there are some things that we just are really struggling to work through. And if that's the case, we need to focus on those things extra intensely so that we can learn how to better work with that energy. It's no longer allowing ourselves to make allowances for what isn't working, but instead to take those opportunities and make things happen and maneuver things to work better. It's an opportunity for good change. It doesn't have to be all negative or worrisome. All right, air signs. Let's see what is going on with the water world. All right, emotion ocean.
Oh, wait, hang on, before we go too far.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. Danielle says, and this is a good time to let everybody know that we give away free readings at the end of these sessions. Are we doing that today?
No, just
on Mondays.
No, on Fridays.
On Fridays. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
on Fridays. At the end of the live free reading, we will go ahead and give away a free 15-minute reading for whomever has come in and stayed during the session and, you know, gets their name called at the end randomly as we scroll through comments and just randomly pick somebody. But yeah, that was you for last Friday. So thank you for joining.
She said, can we do the live reading here soon? How will we go about it? I was gonna say maybe reach out on Facebook. Is that the best way to do it?
You can reach out to me either on Facebook or on our website, tarotwithlyramoon.com, and you can fill out a contact form, and then that will notify me that you've reached out, and then I can get back to you there as well. And we'll do that privately, either over the phone or probably over the phone or video. I don't know. We're not really set up for video right now, so probably just over the phone for now. But yeah, you can reach out, and yeah, that is all yours.
Yeah. So guys, come see us on Fridays. We do free readings, and we do giveaways of free readings, and we talk about cool stuff, and we talk about you guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah, we're gonna jump into the emotion ocean. That is water signs. We're gonna talk about Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And then we're gonna wrap this Szechuan up. So we're gonna see what's going on with obstacles and opportunities for you guys this week. All right, so obstacles. 8 of Pentacles reversed. So this is a difficulty in getting things done as efficiently as we would like, right? This is kind of the more challenged version of things. We may not feel the desire to want to get things done. We may have very low energy. We may be having a hard time sleeping. There's a lot of information flying around. There's a lot of new things happening. And there's just a sense of being really, really drained. At the same time, this is also kind of struggling to maintain a certain level of, you know, performance of how you usually maintain your energy with family and in work. So be mindful of where your energy is being spent this week, because it will be more drained than usual. And because of that, you may have a more challenged time with communication or keeping your cool. So just kind of be aware of that. If it's too much, recognize it and pull yourself back to get some more rest, or do what you can to really kind of get yourself more rest this week. We're also looking at opportunities. Okay, so as far as opportunities go, this is also to say that there are plenty of them. And the more that we kind of are aware that we're going to have more challenges in work, in home, in patience, in frustration, that also means that we can set aside more patience for ourselves and become more of an observer of the communication that comes to us, of the situations that come to us, of how we feel that comes into us. You know, giving us the upper hand and not having to, you know, feel overwhelmed by, you know, all of the additional energies, because we know that we're already tired. We know that we're already kind of cranky. So if we can already put that patience wall up and have patience for the people and ourselves, then it does kind of take the sting off of what we can't really control. This also gives us the opportunity to maybe look at the smaller details of things, paying attention more to how we perfect things, how we perfect our skills, how we perfect the way that we communicate and convey our needs, and how to better fine-tune that with what is more towards what we are grounded with, or not grounded with. It's more like, you know, what am I trying to say? It's like,
you're saying exactly what I was gonna say, which is I pulled the star, and it's exactly like what is pictured in the star. And what she has got going on here is she's got 1 foot in the water and she's got 1 foot on the ground.
mm-hmm.
And when you get to the point where you're starting to feel this, and you're just like, you're tired, and especially as being watery people, once we've been in the cold water for too long, we get a little unstable. So that is the time that we have to take the moment to realize, okay, let's ground ourselves. Let's still be true to ourselves. We've got 1 foot in the water. We've got one foot in our emotions, being aware.
Mm-hmm.
We're still there. We're not pushing it away. But we've also got 1 foot, like, on the ground.
On solid ground.
On solid
mm-hmm.
ground, to remind us that, you know, helps us from getting swept away.
Mm-hmm.
That is one thing that we can easily do. So
absolutely,
I think that's really good advice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the opportunities are to perfect these smaller, more complicated aspects of how we communicate. Also, how we deal with our own sense of failure, or how we deal with our, you know, our sense of perfection. There's all these different things that we can kind of start to adapt and change. All right, adaptability is going to be key to getting you guys through this week. All right, for relationships of all kinds, where are we at? All right, we are at the King of Swords reversed, at a point where we need to still figure out what it is that we need to say. Okay, there's some of us that are still struggling in what we need to say, how we need to say it. We may not even be, we may be using more emotionality rather than logic to convey our needs. And this is also coming down to still kind of leftover energy, which happens a lot with water signs. Is water signs tend to really get fixated on the emotional aspect of life because you are water. So because of that, there is a tendency to be more emotionally reactive rather than using your logic when it comes to your relationships this week. So because of that, again, be aware of it. Be aware of your emotional responses and have a better sense and control of your emotional management. And you'll find that you have a lot less of this kind of conflict energy where we aren't really sure what we want, where we aren't really sure what we need to convey. We aren't really sure of how to convey it, and it all just comes out like, a sloppy version of what we had really wanted to express. So there is a need to be more aware of what you're feeling. It's absolutely important to be aware of what you're feeling this week because those things that you're feeling are not wrong, but they need to be expressed and moved through in a much different way where you compartmentalize the emotionality versus the logic so that you can see this from an observant point of view instead of jumping too far into one path or the other, giving you a more balanced perspective on whatever the situation or problem is altogether. So there is going to be some challenge and conflict that comes up. But again, I personally think that knowing these things gives you the upper hand in being able to solve for X better. Because once you know, okay, well, I might be a little bit more in a challenged position this week with my relationships. It gives you the opportunity to be more present and more compassionate in your communication so that things come through how you really wanted them to come through.
It kicked us off TikTok.
Why does it do that?
Maybe it has a 1 hour limit
Has it
or
been an
something.
hour?
I don't know. Yeah. How should I can't really reach over there. Hang on. Should we let TikTok go?
Yeah,
Okay.
just let it go. We
All
only,
right.
have, only have one more card anyway.
All right.
All right, and then we're looking at the tools. What tools or skills will you be given, or do you already have, in order to help you through this this week? And you guys are in a little bit of a debilitation, but that's okay too, because we still have opportunities and good skills that come through what we may perceive as not having. So we have the 9 of Cups reversed. All right, so this card in its reversed position as a skill or tool that you may have is the feeling of not being happy with what you have. A sense of unfulfillment. That feeling of unfulfillment is going to make you want to change things pretty quickly, pretty intensely. It's going to become heavier and heavier the more you ignore it. The more that you ignore how you're really feeling about being satisfied in any given situation, the more the universe is just going to crank it up. Because again, I'm telling you that because Jupiter is in Gemini, Jupiter expands everything and makes it so much bigger than it was before. So you won't be able to run or ignore this. It has to be something that you decide you want to actively tackle in order for you to have real true growth in that area. So if you are struggling, to find the words, you have to remember, well, it comes down to figuring out, what do I need to say? What do I want? What's important to me? Make yourself even a goal list or a values list. Allow yourself to, layer over that list with people or, situations and see if they align with you. And if they don't, then there needs to be some conversation where we don't use our emotion to, like, say, for example, get angry at someone else for what they didn't know that they were doing, but instead use clear and concise logic and reason and communication in order to convey what isn't working and what we would like to see inevitably work. All right, so there is a sense of, you guys are in a little bit of a difficult one this particular week, but that's okay, because from that comes a lot of newness and the ability to have these problems become solutions. So you can, as soon as you recognize that there is a problem ahead of you, you will then also start to realize, if you don't use your emotional reactivity and instead use your logic, you will find that there is a solution that forms. We become an observer to our problem, and suddenly the pathway becomes more clear of how we can deal with this whole thing to begin with. So it is going to take some zhuzhing and some figuring out, but ultimately it does come down to a brand new opportunity that just sets you up for success for the next week. So see this not as, oh gosh, the universe is out to get me, it's one more thing, it's just, it's not that. It's not about that. It's about your turn to figure out the last of the things that need to be balanced. What you will accept, what you won't accept. And overall, I think that's kind of where we're all at. Needing to figure out what we will accept and what we won't accept, and what we're ready to see come into us. We have a new moon on the 6th, and it is in Gemini. So keep focusing on what intentions you want to manifest for yourself this month, as well as what you can create for you, what new structures you can create for yourself, how you are communicating. Is it correct? Is it helpful? Is it all the things you wish it could be? And if it's not, become an observer to your communication. That's what I'm challenging you all with this week, is to become an observer to your communication. We would love to know how this affects you and changes you over the next week. When we come back and do next week's emotional forecast, we'd love to know where you guys all are and how you've done over this last week, as far as if you found that being an observer to your emotions and to your situations that come in are easier, or if you were still struggling. Love to know about what your experiences are overall with your reading, and get started on doing some soul searching, some higher level figuring out of what it is that comes next.
Deep reflection.
Deep reflection. I would say if there's anyone that is trying to also get a spiritual message from a loved one that has passed over, now is the time to figure that stuff out. If you have a message that you want someone on the other side to bring back to you, you can call out that person's name. You can call out to them and ask them to, send you a sign through your dreams. It's that type of energy where it's kind of like 12th house energy, where kind of anything goes in the spiritual realm. You can create a lot of new possibilities this month if you know what you're ready to learn and what you're ready to understand about you. All right.
I think
that's
time.
about it.
That's about it for us, but guys. Thank you for being here.
Thank you guys so much for being here.
We'll be back on
Wednesday.
We'll see you Wednesday at
3
p.m.
Yep.
3 p.m.
3 p.m. All right, guys. Thank you so much for
Bye.
being here, and have a beautiful week ahead. Bye for now.